Welcome back to the Psychological Paradigm Shift podcast. I hope you found the last episode informational and helpful. I'm Ed Rieger, your host. I am the creator of the Psychological Paradigm Shift movement. You can find the entire layout of the movement on my website, psychologicalparadigmshift.com. On the website, you'll learn what the mission of the movement is, the books I have written, the laws I am beginning to release, the podcast episodes, and you'll be able to follow my political activities when we launch. Always remember, I am only providing my personal opinions based on my experiences and education on psychological topics. We will be talking about mental illness in a very blunt, transparent manner. The topics may be disturbing to some, and it will never be my intent to hurt anyone, only to share my ideas and thoughts. Tonight, we're going to cover political beliefs and activities, and the questions you may want to ask your potential partners. In the past few years, America has seen the most chaotic activity in the history of our country when it comes to our political processes. Nothing has been more apparent and obvious as to the proof of induced psychosis than our political beliefs and activities over the past few years. I didn't include political beliefs and activities in the original draft of the book, How Not to Date or Marry the Mentally Ill. But with where we're at today, I couldn't ignore it. And I had to include it in my second publishing. With the tribal divisions that are prevalent in our political bodies, it is critical that this become a category of questions when you are dating or thinking of marrying someone with psychological issues. Their inducement from political leaders is crucial, in your decision to date or potentially marry them. Individuals with induced psychosis may not have been taught their political beliefs from their parents, but it doesn't mean that as adults, they cannot be psychologically manipulated by political leadership. If you do not agree with each other's political beliefs in today's climate, a romantic relationship may not be possible. Okay, let's go ahead and get started on the questions. Have you or would you ever vote for any political leader who has been indicted for conspiracy against America? Have you ever or would you ever vote for any political leader who has kidnapped children from their parents? Have you or would you ever vote for any political leader who has withheld approved funding for military use to an American allied country? Have you or would you ever vote for a political leader who has told verifiable falsehoods to the American people? Have you or would you ever vote for a political leader who has been accused and sued for rape? Have you or would you ever vote for a political leader who chose to side with a murderous dictator over America's intelligence agencies and law enforcement agencies? Have you ever voted for or would you vote for any political leader who has attempted to overturn a valid election? Have you or would you ever vote for any political leader who has lost multiple lawsuits trying to overthrow the voting will of the people? Would you ever vote for any political leader who has or would threaten any poll workers or political employees? Would you or have you ever voted for a political leader who makes public threats against prosecutors and their family members? Would you or have you ever voted for any political leader who, during a national crisis like a pandemic, would withhold medical equipment and services? Would you or have you ever voted for any political leader who, during a national crisis like a pandemic, misdirect the medical advice from a legitimate medical specialist and their information to help them politically? Have you or would you ever vote for a political leader who has been impeached? Have you or would you ever vote for a political leader who has been indicted and or convicted of espionage? How long have you been affiliated with the political party you've chosen currently? How many times have you voted the party line in past elections? Have you or do you volunteer for any campaigns? How many times a year do you volunteer? What political party do you donate funds to? How much do you donate? Do you donate weekly, monthly, or annually? Do you listen to any radio or television stations that spread falsehoods? Do you listen to any radio stations or watch any television channels that have future lawsuits against them for spreading falsehoods? Do you listen to any radio stations or watch any television channels that have been sued for falsehoods and had to make a cash settlement to end the lawsuit? Would you listen to any radio station or watch any television channel that has current lawsuits against them for their falsehoods? Does your family follow the same political party as you? If your family does not follow the same party as you, how has that affected your relationship with them? Are you still communicating with your family currently about political topics? Now, that question right there is a big question in America today. A lot of family members don't really have relationships anymore because of their political beliefs. They don't participate with each other any longer. They don't talk on the phone. They're not concerned with each other's welfare. This topic question right there really speaks volumes about where we're at today in our political atmosphere in the United States and throughout the world. So this is a big question for you to know, will this individual cut you out of their lives like they have their own family members if you do not believe and think and act the way they do politically? So this is a very important question. Have you ever had a romantic relationship break up because of political disagreements? Was it because of your affiliations or your partners? Did your parents or another family member get you involved politically? When did they first introduce you to the political experience? Have you ever marched for a political event? How often? When is the last time you marched and for what event? What newspapers do you read? What podcasts do you listen to? Do you listen weekly, daily, less? What radio stations do you listen to? Do you listen daily, weekly, less? What television stations do you get your political news from? Do you watch those television stations daily, weekly, less? Okay, we'll go ahead and stop the questions there. All right, just a note here before we wrap things up. This was the last category of questions from my book, How Not to Date or Marry the Mentally Ill. I hope you found this information helpful and productive. Currently, I'm begun the political phase of the psychological paradigm shift movement. Hopefully, I will see you on the campaign trail soon. I don't know how the podcast will go in the future. I don't know if I'll have more episodes tied to the political campaign. I'm planning on that, but we'll see how things go. I want to thank you for participating with me during these episodes. And I hope this information was helpful for you. Remember, you can go to the psychologicalparadigmshift.com and you can follow all the activities coming up in the future when it comes to the political campaign. And I always want to make sure that that you take care of yourselves. And I will see you soon.